What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing a tier list for opportunities unleashed on missed opportunities. So Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Missed Opportunities is the map where we have to clear out terrazine geysers for Stetmann's bots to harvest. Then we have to protect said bots from enemies. If we lose more than one bot on brutal difficulty, we lose the game. Enemies get blue zone, green zone, and purple zone. That is, they are faster, get a barrier, and spells.
Alright, so Tutu and Stixbender are on the call with us today. Stixbender, how are you going to rate the commanders this week?
So the biggest problems with this mutation are just speed freaks on missed opportunities means if you aren't sitting near the bot, it's just kind of going to explode against a high DPS comp because Amon will get there before you will. And then there's power overwhelming, which will cause some problems for some commanders because that by itself can be a bit problematic. And then there's barrier, which all of this adds together to say you really don't want to roll Zerglings. And other than that, it's a pretty easy mutation. Just don't roll Zerglings.
Yeah. So how about you, Tutu? Anything to add?
No, I think that sums it up quite well.
Nice. Let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
The good thing about Abathur is that the toxic nests can kill the enemies while they're walking towards the bots. If you aren't good at luring, you can still get a Brutalisk by 5 minutes. So you probably need some help from your ally to survive the first one, but since your Spore Crawler doesn't get affected by most of the power overwhelming stuff, you could probably safely lure enemies and get a Brutalisk or two to help. And after that, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it takes some work. Got the tools. He's decent, so I put him in B.
Okay. B for Brutalisk. How about you, Stixbender?
Yeah, that makes sense. Brutalisks are quite solid, and Deep Tunnel will negate the whole problem of Amon walking faster than you. So aside from the possibility of getting murdered by Stunlock plus anti-armored weapons, Brutalisks are going to do really well at carrying your early game.
Yeah. Without Prestige, will that change anything?
I don't think so. P0 is usually Abathur's strongest prestige.
Yeah, alright. So
P3 might go down a rank.
Oh no.
P3 might go down a rank. There we go. B for Abathur. Alarak, where do we have him?
Power overwhelming can be annoying because your important units are
Expensive.
fragile early on. Early on, they're fragile. Ascendants become very tanky later on, but that takes a while. So early on, you might lose them horribly, and then they don't become tanky because they don't live long enough to become tanky. You can just rely on heroes with Mothership and Alarak Empower Me. That works pretty well. So that's probably what you're going to want to end up actually even doing is the best thing to do here with Alarak is probably going to be a lot of 1Q E2C so that you don't actually have to worry if the Ascendants die, because the Ascendants are just eating supplicants to reset Alarak cooldowns, not to actually do damage themselves.
Yeah, the cooldown reset thing.
And then horribly, no. If the Ascendants do die horribly, make more. The Ascendants are pretty cheap because it's just Alarak's cooldowns that they're resetting. If they live, great. Now they can kill stuff too. They don't need to. Alarak can kill it by himself.
Something feels off to me about calling Ascendants cheap, especially when they've started consuming, more and more supplicants. But sure.
Alarak's the one. Just consider it as the cost of Alarak is the supplicants, not the cost of the Ascendants in this case.
Yikes.
That's basically what you do against Power Overwhelming. You use the Ascendants just to reset Alarak's cooldowns, and Alarak does kind of fine, honestly.
Okay.
It's just a matter of keeping a ball of supplicants behind Alarak, and don't put the supplicants up forward enough that crowd control spells shot at Alarak hit the supplicants. You don't want them to hit the black hole or fungal growth or anything. You want Alarak to eat all the spells.
How far ahead?
Deal all the damage, everything.
How far ahead should Alarak be of the Ascendants? Because I know the reason isn't global anymore. It's 16 range. So how far ahead is that?
So that's about if your supplicants are about marine range away from Alarak, that should be plenty.
Okay.
So your Supplicant Ascendant ball wants to be like maybe that much gap.
All right. So ladder.
Just remember to stick a pylon next to each bot so that you can overcharge it in case a wave decides to show up and your slow walking army doesn't have time to saunter over.
Slow floating.
And you should be probably B tier.
Okay. How about you, Tutu?
I think he has a very steep requirement. Like if you aren't good with spacing or the 1QE2C trick, if you don't know that or don't know how to use it, it's gonna be pretty hard. And if Alarak himself doesn't one-shot the enemies, they come back with barrier, and then that's
It'll be harder.
pretty tough. Yeah, and then you can like throw ascendant balls at them, but I don't know. Seems like it's pretty difficult. I think Slayers are fine if you don't want to do the supplicant thing. Slayers are better, like because they get the phasing thing. The
phasing armor.
invincibility. Yeah, that's pretty good. So if you're just gonna F2, I think that's all right. It's not ideal, but the spacing thing, if you can't do it, I don't think he's gonna be a good choice. I'm gonna put him in C.
I'll note, by the way, the phasing armor for Slayers also is good because it does cleanse crowd control effects. So, like, for example, if they're invulnerable due to the phasing armor, they're not stunned by black hole for the duration of the phasing armor, which means you could just blink out of the black hole.
Nice.
Yes.
That's incredible. Tutu says C, Sticks says B. My instinct here is to actually put him in the lower rank because it's it can be a bit punishing if you mess up, especially with speed freaks on. Are you okay with C, Sticksbender?
I guess so. He's a bit difficult and slow.
Well, it's not, the difficult is a different thing from unforgiving. You mess up once and you're reset like all the way back to 0.
No, that's my point. The thing against Power Overwhelming is you don't plan to stack Ascendants at all. You plan to just let the Alarak Hero Unit solo everything, while the Ascendants are just there to reset for Alarak Hero Unit.
So they're basically just as expendable as the duplicates themselves. Okay.
Alarak's gonna take a beating. When you wave your arms, they're gonna get barriers, so you gotta do this like several times.
Unless they're, ironically, unless they are the Zerglings that everyone else is gonna be so worried about, because then they get one shot.
Yes.
If you're P1, you can't one-shot Zerglings.
If you're P1,
you're gonna be sad.
Yeah, if you're P1, that don't do that. Don't do that.
Use P2 or P3.
Yeah, or P0 even, just not P1 against Zerglings. So are we okay with C?
Yeah, okay.
Arcturus, where do we have him?
P3 makes this a lot easier. So you're gonna pretty much do bunkers, hide in bunkers, have lots of bunkers everywhere, but in front of the bunkers you can have like a few suicide guys, because if they one-shot the enemy, there's no barrier.
That's inhumane.
Yeah, so you just do that, and then whatever survives will run into the like 4 or 5 bunkers, like in a group, probably 3 at each bot.
This is inhumane.
So I think it's pretty solid. And if you want, you can add ESOs too.
Yeah.
So I put him in A.
How about you, Sixbender?
If you really get down the amount of units you need for each thing, you can do this even bunkerless without any issues. But yeah, bunkers are going to make it a lot easier. So
also more humane.
Potentially no. If you're sending the right size of army for each thing, you're going to get just few enough that you aren't getting wrecked by Power Overwhelming and losing way too many dudes. But, just enough that you aren't going to lose dudes because they get overwhelmed and just all have to explode in order to kill the wave.
Rip.
But it's a little tricky to get that balance, so just use the bunker. A works. Yeah, just building.
Artanis, where do we have him?
Artanis is actually pretty good. He could just...
He's Gateway Man.
He is Gateway Man. He can conjure units anywhere because Warp Gate and Power Field. This is helpful. If you use P2, your life will become significantly more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to want to use, I would say, a Zealot Templar army, because that's the expendable army that doesn't care if it dies horribly to Power Overwhelming. Though you can just use Immortal Archon and just brute force through. Either way, you're kind of just going to have a blob of army that you're going to have walking around defending the bots, and you'll stick pylon and or observer next to bots and just warp in a bunch of zealots and maybe zealot templar at the bot when a wave goes to try to kill it. And P3 will mean you have your
Archon
dudes
dudes,
who could just beat the snot out of the stronger waves on this map.
which are,
because
by
there
the
are
way,
some
still
pretty
bugged.
strong- what happened?
They're still bugged. The patch didn't actually fix them.
What do you mean bugged? I didn't know they were ever bugged in the first place.
They don't spawn on top of rocks, buildings, or siege tanks.
Oh, the Archon dudes, you mean? I thought you were talking about the waves. That's why.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah.
Correct. Yes. I was confused about that.
So, letter.
He should be A, I think. He's just quite solid, and the actual raw strength of enemies isn't that high here, so they're not going to cause problems for Artanis on that front.
How about you, Tutu?
I don't think Artanis is very good for this one because he relies on having a large army, and large armies get hit by like
Power.
fungal growths and all the kinds of black holes and seeker missile, that kind of stuff. And if you don't have Guardian Shell because it's P3, then you're gonna lose a lot of stuff. I think enemy comp matters a lot. Archon dude helps against like Zerglings, but then if they all have barrier, that's quite difficult to manage. I don't know if you can keep spamming Archons unless you know like the timings and drop like just 1 or 2 for each one.
Mm-hmm.
That requires a lot of map knowledge. So I think he's really dependent on what the enemy sends. He has good mobility in the form of warping in anywhere, but what he warps in, if he loses it all every time he warps in, it's going to be in a lot of trouble. So I put him in D.
D's pretty low. That's pretty far from A. My goodness. Okay, so Sticksbender, have you actually done Artanis solo here?
I think he did.
I don't remember. I think I did.
I think it's P2.
I think I used P1 actually.
P1. So, do you remember if it was actually easy or?
Let
me check.
I don't seem to remember doing any
P1.
hard missed opportunities with Artanis. At least not that I succeeded on. Stupid killbots.
So you just went for Archon and Immortals. Tutu, did you go for Archons and Immortals?
No, I went Master Dragoon.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think Archons and Immortals would be superior here, Sticksbender?
Yeah. So Archons and Immortals are actually tankier than Dragoons. It's just that Dragoons have their whole regenerating constantly thing. But against power overwhelming, and especially with speed freaks speeding up engagements, what you need is more the burst survivability of the Immortal, not the sustained survivability of the Dragoon. And also, Zealot Templar is the big MVP here, because basically you mentioned how Artanis wants a big army. Well, that's not universally true. With Zealot Templar, you basically are just playing expensive Zeratul and Talbris legioning everything.
Do they push well against enemy fortifications here?
Decently well, because once you actually just form the High Templar into Archons, the Zealot Archon pushes decently well if you have Immortal Dragoon sitting behind it. Immortals should be very persistent. Like, you should be basically, what you ideally want to do for the Immortal Archon style is you're basically using Zealot Templar for most of the waves, and then you have one Robo constantly warping in Immortals, and then you almost never lose any Immortals because they're just sitting behind Zealot Archon. So the Immortals just slowly accumulate more and more kick so that you can push into bases. And if you have a base that's a little too strong for your current Immortal count, Archon dudes or shield overcharge, whichever prestige you're using, and you'll just kind of walk through it. Shield overcharge is very much a solve everything solution. It will utterly obliterate anything you task. It will allow you to just walk over bases without losing anything.
Does that fact make Artanis closer to Arcturus than to Abathur?
I feel like he's very straightforward, but that's possibly just me with the whole Artanis being very straightforward.
Does it factor like having a precise number of storms per wave? Do you need
It's
to
not
have
really a precise number of storms. It's basically just you summon the Templar, you spam storm until everything's dead. If things aren't dying, you summon more Templar.
Does enemy count matter?
A little bit. So I guess we could put him in B because of enemy comp dependence.
Okay. Are you okay with B, Tutu?
I can see the strengths. I think like the formation thing. There's like the line of zealots in front, and then archons, and then immortals. Like that formation.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, I just made a move and that formation naturally forms because the immortals have considerably more range than the archons, have considerably more range than the zealots, and also the zealots are faster than the archons, are faster than the immortals.
They have immortal formation. So
Actually, archons and immortals might have similar move speed, but the point is the zealots are faster, so they'll put themselves in front anyways. At least as long as you get charge, which you should, and you don't really have to worry about formation and things. They'll just kind of solve itself.
yeah, Tutu, I think maybe you should try. We should try Archons, Immortals, and Storms to see if they work better.
I'm starting to think that that's probably stronger,
especially against Barrier.
Yeah, especially against Barrier.
Oh, I think we can put it in B for now. There'll probably be other commanders who, besides the guys who like Artanis, probably will not stop using him even if or regardless of where we place him. So I don't think it'll be that bad. We're not putting him at S, so I think B is fine. He's somewhere around there. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka, I feel like the regular pack leader strats work, but there's barrier and speed freaks, and then your creeper hosts don't. If you're using creeper hosts, they're slow. If you're using Mutalisks, they're gonna get hit by crowd control.
They're gonna double die.
Tyrannosaurs might be the best option.
I think I might have used Tyrannosaurs here, but they died. But they were dying, but not fast enough to overwhelm me. I could I could replace those losses.
So it's like if you're getting like a heavy immortal comp or something heavy anti-armor comp, Tyrannosaurs will get wrecked pretty badly. So he's like good.
Yeah, but if it's a heavy immortal comp, can you not make Mutas?
Well, if you make Mutas, then you can make Mutas if you see heavy immortals, but then you get fungal and stuff.
Black hole, fungal, seeker, missile, storm, radiate,
all that stuff. So I put him in B. Still okay. Still fine.
How about you, Sixbender?
Aren't Dehaka's Mutas tanky? But I would think that you would want to. Yeah, creeper hosts. No, not going to probably do well. I would not think, at least here. But I don't know. I would expect Mutas and Tyrannosaurs, depending on which comp you need to counter, would do quite well. But I don't really know Dehaka that well.
All right.
What rank was Tutu saying?
B.
Yeah.
All right, inoffensive. B is officially our inoffensive rank. Phoenix, where do we have him?
He's got his champions, and that's basically what he wants to work with for the most part, I think, because of the fact that they don't have to worry so much about the whole dying thing.
Yeah. Do we go
I'm
P2?
trying to think whether you want to go P2 or not is basically the question right now. I'm thinking.
If you're confident, I guess if you're confident in keeping your farm alive, you go for P2. If not, then don't. Or you can just keep like conservators there, so you can keep them alive while your champions run back, or just have the Phoenix suits available in case your shells get attacked.
The alternative is like, how effective would just straight mass carrier B, which is probably not too terribly effective because I think the interceptor build time being a million years would cause
Yep.
complications. Probably just the champion swarm, and the only problem is like if your champions die, then they have to walk back from the shell farm, and against the high DPS comp, that walk back from the shell farm is anyways the bot's dead already.
You can also have just Cybernetics course just blocking the way.
I would probably put him similar to Alarak, but
So C.
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
I think C.
How about you, Tutu?
Oh, I thought this was easy. Like you 100% use P2. Yeah, as long as you know the
Timings.
timings, like where
Hmm.
you don't know exactly where they're gonna come from, but you know like the general area you should be in and where like to keep your farm. I don't think it's that hard. So like in the second area, your farm is probably south because that's like away from because they come from the left, the left, the top left, or the top right. Then the third area, your farm is like in the center, and you can go and you can like cover both sides. Phoenix suit can cover one side, champs on the other side, and doesn't matter too much. The third area, you can sacrifice the far left bot, or you can use a arbiter teleport or something
Or just have
if needed.
Cybernetics course blocking the way so you can run to.
That
Yeah, it's safe to say here that I just completely overthought this into. I was just overthinking this.
I put him in A.
Okay.
He's A. He's S candidate. I don't know how I overthought it that hard.
Okay. Han and Horner, where do we have him?
Hunter Horner. I think I did this first, like a year or something ago, like super long ago. But I remember I just bombed everything.
You
But
mean
it
with
was a,
Widow Mines or Precision Strikes?
airstrikes.
Ah. So you
And,
cleared using airstrikes. You even used the airstrike for defense?
I think it was against the crappy infantry comp.
So it's comp dependent
think
then.
Yeah. So no, I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're good at all. No. PDDs will ruin them. So
Yes.
I just remember I have like very little memory of this because it's from way too long ago. I just remember it wasn't hard, but it was extremely comp dependent. And if I'm just gonna think about like in a regular, like random comp scenario, it's gonna suck.
Yep.
Because if your strike fighters don't kill them in one shot, then
They're gonna
the
get barrier.
will trigger. And if you have units nearby, they're gonna die to power overwhelming.
Yes.
So I put them in E. They're probably pretty bad.
How about you, Six Bender?
Oh no, not poor Han and Horner.
But they're two commanders.
I know that allows them to be twice as bad at their job.
It's weaker than Zeratul's left arm and right arm.
It's weaker than Dehaka's missing arm.
Yeah, poor Han and Horner.
Okay, where do we have him?
Yeah, E tier fits.
All right, without prestige.
Same.
Karax, where do we have him?
Building Gober.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would presume something along the lines of being like A tier, S tier. You have the ability to utterly vaporize Amon from orbit anyways. So you don't have to worry too much about that location.
Just put buildings
Fair.
between the
Sorry.
bots and the waves, and then you have Spear of a Dune go pew pew, right?
Yeah, you just spam buildings, you Spear of Dune everything, and it just kind of works.
Uh huh. So where does that put him?
So I would say A or S.
What do you think, Tutu?
Karax.
I put him in A.
Why not S?
Because the S guys have less work to do. Even less.
Fair.
Okay. So are you okay with
Even
A?
less,
But-
dang.
Yeah.
Six men, are you okay with A?
Yeah, I'm okay with A.
Okay.
Just like even less work than Karax. Dang, how easy are the S tiers?
Kerrigan, where do we have him?
You probably will just use P2 plus Ultralisks no matter what the enemy has. If they have air, then you make Spore Crawlers. But that's it. With bad luck, or if Kerrigan takes too much damage in the front because she gets crowd control or something, and you lose her, then you're in a bit of trouble. If you're not good with like entering worms, going back healing, then coming back out, that's also
Bad.
trouble. Yeah, worms are good for stalling though.
Yeah, I've actually done it before. Just not even fighting the last wave, just blocking them with worms.
Yeah, so it's I would say A or B.
A or B. Okay, how about you, Sixpender?
Hero unit is quite competent as long as she doesn't get locked down of crowd control. Worms are good at all the things because of the fact that they can tank and allow Kerrigan to dodge spells if you're good at it. There's a lot of potential to steamroll with the hero unit here if you know how to use her properly. And I don't know if 2-2 made a prestige recommendation. I would personally prefer P2 because that would let me keep like
He also said P2.
a bit more distance. Yeah, P2 is good.
How shoot up?
Hmm?
How shoot up?
Lasers.
How shoot up? Yep, lasers. You
Lightning.
you kind of just
Zappy.
press Q in place. you just press Q in place, and a bunch of lightning bolts fly in the sky, and everything explodes.
You could say she has a stunning solution to it.
Yes.
A or B?
Probably B. She's not as good as the A tiers.
Are you okay with B, Tutu?
Yeah, sounds fine.
Without prestige, still B?
Still, probably, yeah.
Without prestige, how shoot up?
Spore Crawlers.
And Hydralisks. And
Hydralisks
Queens.
versus power overwhelming? Okay, if you say so. Nova, where do we have him?
Spells are annoying and painful, but
Defensive drone.
like defensive drone's good. Stun is bad, but you can live with it because of defensive drone. Nova's hero unit is decently strong. Raven Liberator continues to be great. You can go spider mines with your expensive vultures on this map.
Expensive vultures, that's what they are. Expensive and time gated vultures.
Expensive time gated vultures. And you can just use the expensive vultures to blow up everything as it spawns, so that's cool.
We're at the point where I'm kind of excited what kind of edits Zeus would do for expensive vultures. he's pretty good at editing, isn't it? Have you watched the edits he's done? He's pretty good at it.
No, not yet. Bit of work and setup. You have to be on top of things, and especially when you get hit by crowd control spells with defensive drone and potentially Griffin airlift, like you have to be on top of things. If you're not on top of things, stuff will die horribly.
So ladder.
B.
How about you two?
Yeah, I put her in B as well for similar reasons. She's not higher just because having Liberators switch back and forth between fighting air and fighting ground, especially against barrier, is really annoying. And if you use like Seeker missiles, that's good. I guess you gotta spam a lot though. But if you spam, you might overkill or underkill. So yeah, you probably want to be in assault mode. So switching back to the rifle mode to snipe them is annoying. So it's just like
the salt mode. That's me. I'm always in the salt mode.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, so you can just airstrike each wave, and then later on you can spawn camp with expensive vulture mines.
Expensive vultures.
Yeah, B is fine.
So B. We all say B.
B.
Without prestige, still B.
It's generally the same plan.
Okay. Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor is bad. Well,
Hot and Horse like join
But he
my.
has cheap vultures.
yeah, that's all he can do. So
He has bunkers too.
his bunkers, yeah, but barrier.
He has bad bunkers and cheap vultures.
He can repair bunkers.
If they don't get killed by like the psionic orbs that keep flying by.
Also, his repair speed is just abysmal compared to Mengsk.
Yeah. The good thing is that you can help. So you just spam mines everywhere, you help. If you don't clear the observers, they're gonna keep like casting spells on those mines. But
If your ally clears, you can actually camp the spawn points. That'll be amazing.
yeah, so I put Raynor in D.
Okay, Hot and Horner. Oh, how about you, Stixbender?
Oh, he's more helpful than Han and Horner's top bar, you'd say?
DS and don't stick me in with those guys.
But they're both just top bar bots with mediocre units and mines.
Raynor has
Han and
scan.
Horner, you're probably going to want to go mines as your, main army, right? So, and I mean the spider mines, you have to spawn camp with them, or else they're just gonna get like stormed or something and do nothing. I don't know. I feel like Han and Horner and Raynor are a pretty similar power level. Personally, I don't see a distinct advantage of Raynor over Han and Horner.
All right, so you say Raynor E.
Yes.
So Tutu, what makes you say Raynor is better than Hot and Horner?
I don't think so. I'm not taking this fight.
Bunkers. All right, fine. Let's have.
It was the last one I completed. But, yeah.
Hot and Horner's like, yes, join the awful side.
Han and Horner. Wow, I have friends.
Stetmann, where do we have him?
A lot better than Han and Horner and Raynor, I guess, is the short version.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, Zerglings. I don't care about anything Zerglings. I run literally faster than Speed Freak Amon because Blue Zone.
The barrier could be annoying for Igor.
Yeah, the barrier can be annoying, but then you remember that P2 exists, and therefore the Igorb can just
brute force.
Anyways, it doesn't care. Barrier does way more damage than he has any right doing.
Don't say that. We don't say that part out loud.
Gary is OP.
No,
this is a sad fact.
He's the right amount of P.
All right, well then let's put Stetmann in P tier. I don't know where P tier is.
P tier. What letter is it? B. You can't complain about. You can't complain about how overpowered someone is and just put him in A. But okay, have it your way. Tutu, how about you? Where do you put Stat Boy?
I put him in S.
See, that's how you do it. If you want to commit to someone being OP, put him in S. Like,
okay.
Like you don't have to do anything different. You don't have to worry about dying because you just turn on the green zone, which isn't affected by any of the spells. Like you can just press. You just turn on the green when you like. Oh, I'm in fungal. I'm being fungal now. I'm in a black hole. Okay, I'll just get some life back. I guess.
That's how you balance like a normal person, Stixbender.
Okay. So let me give my argument for not putting him that high. So the problem is that firstly mostly he has the problem of his Zerglings can actually die horribly to splash damage because even though they have the hardened shields, it's still kind of a problem when Amon just shows up with Storm Fungal, and that's a lot of damage ticks that are only doing 10 or less damage anyway, so they ignore the barrier or the hardened energy shield. And with multiple different AoE spells, it can outpace the green zone. So your Zerglings can die. It's not regular brutal.
So use infestors. Use ultralisks. Use banelings.
Literally, there's a case of the mission or the mutation is easy enough that Stetmann's macro cycle is arguably harder than Phoenix and Karax. Literally just making the Zerglings. It's not. I do not think you're going to get away with a hero solo, largely just because of the fact that Gary flies, so anti-ground is just going to walk past him and right-click the objective. Which some comps that won't matter quite a few comps, it will matter.
That sounds like nitpicking a little bit, but do you say not S? Because we can argue all we want, but if it's not unanimous, it's not S.
It's not S because he can't hero solo, and he's going to have to make a lot of Zerglings. You will have to be on top of your macro.
Since when is hero solo a requirement of S?
Since Karax basically can hero solo because he can
What?
solo practically.
That's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing.
Is it not?
How do you push with just top bar?
D3 can do it, honestly. This map is slow. I don't know. I would say that Karax and Phoenix are both better than Stetmann.
Karax and Phoenix are both better than Dead Boy?
No
Yes.
way.
His Zerglings do actually die in droves to spells, so you do have to make more of them.
Okay.
Yes, Zerglings can overpower it.
But you usually have
but you
so
need all
many
those
that
Zerglings.
you lose like 10, you lose like 20, you still have 30 more.
You will lose like 60. Not 10 or 20.
I wonder if
You'll
my
lose 60 to 100.
wife's gonna realize that I don't have my sound my sound thing on. So
There's one more good thing about Stetmann is that the what were those called? The Statolites, they stall. So like speed freaks towards the bots. If you're out of position or something,
if they shoot up, if they're Zerglings, they probably just run past.
And if there's Zerglings, they wait for the anti-air. The problem is, like, they stall for a frame or two.
Not really a frame or two, more like 10, 20 frames. I got frames.
I'm watching my run now. It was against the Vanguard of Ire, and I was always at 150 supply, like towards the end. Just mostly Lings, not all Lings. Ling Hydra, just doing normal things.
Have you considered
I would really like to watch you play that against Modern Mech.
Just add Ultralisks, right?
Modern Mech. Is that Machines of War?
Yes.
Yeah, Hellions, Thor, Siege Tanks. I would just use Ultralisks against that. Ultralisks and Zerglings too. Maybe even
Yeah,
Banelings.
Ultralists are good. Ultralists would probably do okay there, but still kind of like to see it, to be honest.
Let's put that on my list of to do.
Okay, so are you okay with S or just no? Stick him in A because I want to make a
No.
point. I want to make a point. Stat was an A.
This is
Because I said so.
Stetmann is an S a lot. This is one of the worst candidate weeks for him to be an S, I would say. This is one of the times when he actually does relatively poorly for his,
being a stat boy. He's too good for his own good.
Yes, usually he just steamrolls everything. Here he actually has to work slightly.
Since when did we make a commander, since when do we judge a commander by his past performance to put him in S? Usually we judge the commander against the mutation, not himself.
Well, against the mutation, he does worse than he would against a lot of other mutations, and against the mutation, he
No. You're saying
worse
listen
than
to what you just
No.
said.
He does
Listen
worse
to
than
what you
your
just
man.
said. He does worse than what he normally does. So you're comparing him to himself.
Yes, I'm comparing him to himself as well, but he also does worse. He does worse than A tier.
Then A tier. So you're saying Stat Boy's B.
No, then some A tier. He does.
Then
I
some
think he
A
does better
tier.
than Mace, worse than Karax and Phoenix, personally.
Worse than
Well,
Karax and Phoenix.
Okay, Karax, I'd say is better than him. Phoenix has the same level of comp dependence problems as him. That's what I would say.
I guess I can see Karax just being so easy but I don't know.
I'd rather Karax over Stetmann. I'm sorry, but Karax wins this one for me.
Even if Stat Boy is like C tier for this, I still use Stat Boy because this is his mutation. This was the week. This was the mutation that was live on the week that he came out, In fact, if you heard Brian earlier, the whole point of the mutation, Speed Freaks is blue zone, Barrier is green zone, Power of Realm is purple zone. This is Stetboy's mission. It's his map.
It's too bad Purple Zone ended up being really underwhelming and just being like, it's for infestors, and that's about it.
Yeah, kinda. But anyway, you can also use the Mecha Bat Carrier Lords when they do the Yamato things. But anyway, if it's not unanimous, it's not S. So Stetboy's an A. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov. I'm guessing with Power Overwhelming, your best bet is P3, but then with Barrier, that makes it significantly more difficult. Like once you get a critical mass, it's a lot easier. But the early game, the hardest part of this map, the second set of bots,
Yes.
you're gonna probably want maybe even both cooldowns available.
Both top bars probably.
Yeah, both top bars available. I put him in C.
Oh, okay. How about you, Sixbender?
Yeah. C makes sense. It's like he's very easy, but it can just go horribly wrong, and then you will die very spectacularly.
Yeah, similar to Alarak.
Nah, he's a bit different from Alarak, because Alarak will die spectacularly because you messed up. Stukov will die spectacularly because they decided to cast a lot of really nasty spells, and you just had a blob of infested and couldn't do much about it.
I don't know what else you could mess up as Stukov, to be honest, but sure. So C.
It's not messed up. It's you have bad luck.
Yeah, you messed up on spinning the wheel.
Stukov, it's RNG. Alarak, it's luck.
We have actual mutators. We have actual mutations where the whole challenge is spinning the wheel. So if you had bad luck, it's your fault for having bad luck.
Yes, of course. How could I forget?
That's so unskilled of you to roll a bad mutator. That's so unskilled of you.
Skill diff, honestly.
So C for both of you?
Yeah.
Without prestige, still C?
Yeah.
All right. Swann, where do we have him?
Swann. Laser drill. It go burr.
Barrier though.
Yes. So
Speed
here's
Freaks?
the deal.
Oh wait.
The laser drill will slow them down and do a lot of negating Speed Freaks. You're still going to be making turret wall. Your big thing is going to be turret wall, I would say. So my expectation would be use laser drill to negate Speed Freaks. Use turret wall. The barrier gets procced early by the laser drill so that it's expired by the time they get to your turrets. And then Speed Freaks means they're just going to sprint into range of the turrets, so they will die more to the turrets. It's not going to work against every comp. It's going to be a lot of work, so he's not going to be a high tier. But it's going to be just turret farm, honestly, I think Swann is building simulator here.
So where do you have him?
C?
Okay, sounds fair. I was thinking disruption web, point defense drones, the what was it called?
Point defense drones don't matter as long as you have like a missile turret.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, how about you, Tutu?
I forgot about disruption web, but then the other ones. I guess if your group of SCVs gets like hit by AoE while you're building, you're just in so much trouble.
You're just dead.
So it's kind of same banana.
If you're fighting like tanks or something, you probably want more factories, and if you're fighting like units without super long range, then you just have more flaming Bettys and blaster abilities.
I believe the attack range of blaster abilities is longer than the vision range of siege tanks, so at least siege tanks will kind of saunter into range and die horribly.
I guess if you like have turrets right at where they spawn, then that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, either
or like
way,
if
it's
you
still
have,
going to be a pain.
I think he's just like weaker Karax.
You put him in A?
A lot weaker.
Yeah, I put him in A, but not.
I think he's a lot weaker.
Yeah,
in
how
A,
did you
to be honest.
push? How did you push a Swann?
You use the
Probably-
factories plus the bots. I don't use the war bots to defend. The war bots are always used for pushing. With
Okay.
Wow, who
factories
could have seen
flying.
that coming?
Mm,
It's kind of just how Swann does pushing, honestly.
the bots. My big
And with
bots.
P1, you don't use concentrated beam mastery at all, so it's more life.
Yeah.
The bases aren't that strong.
I'm actually leaning more towards C. The static defense is cool and all, but seems very sketchy against disruption web.
Against certain comps, if you get like
I can see that.
The
like,
disable.
tanks are still going to do a lot of damage before you kill everything that's giving them vision. Disruptive web is a pain. The point defense drones are a pain.
Disable.
Yeah.
They can black hole your CVs. I don't know. I kind of agree with Stickspender here. He seems more like a C, but again, I haven't seen Tutu's run yet. Maybe he does go in A, but
Did I use?
I have
I fought against random comp, and what did I get? I think I got Fleet of the Matriarch.
I tossed. They don't send carriers. This game, do they? On this map,
The last wave only, I think.
only the last
No,
one.
no. Wave tier 5 waves have carriers.
Either way, Fleet of the Matriarch is actually, ironically enough, a relatively easy thing for Swann here, I'd think.
Yeah.
Because
If
like,
you
you just spam missile turrets galore, and there's nothing that outranges your missile turrets, unlike, say, Tempests.
If you get reverse,
Yeah, Reavers. Ouch.
reverse with spells. Oh man, that sounds
Yeah,
painful.
ouchies.
I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced with A. B I can see, but A's kind of stretching it. Especially looking at the guys in A. Stat Boy, Phoenix, Karax. You have Swann in there? Really?
I'm not. It's not a hard A for me. It's.
Hey.
I
my
could see him in.
initial.
I could see him in B, but
It's a hard B. Soft A. A.
I'd say I could see him in B, but C is the more likely choice, I would say.
I don't know. Not sure. Not sure about Swann. I think B is the highest I would put him in. Can't really see him in A, but
He wanted so badly to be Buon.
Buon. Well, I wouldn't mind Quan either, but you know, I'm just saying that the highest I would put him in this B.
Yes, I would.
The certain comps completely wrecking him. I can see that.
So,
I guess the barrier. With the barrier as well.
so where do we have him?
With that in mind, I think C is all right.
Okay.
Because the other ones are like less ruined by certain comps.
Without
And
prestige.
the people in B. Without prestige, it's probably even worse.
Right, so he could be Dwan. Raynor,
Not that bad.
Raynor Han Horlek, join us.
Yeah, he's not that bad. Certainly is not that bad.
Nah. All right, let's have him see. Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus is S because if your grenade kills them in one shot, there's no barrier.
Okay.
And you
Yeah.
can, like Sirius, you throw your turrets behind Tychus, and then even if Tychus gets hit by something, isn't there less chance of like certain spells if you're only one dude?
I think so.
So yeah, like it's you're not really gonna get hit by like fungal growth. So you just throw your grenade, they die. If they're not dead, Tychus will shoot through their barrier and their HP really quickly. So
And also, you said if they're dead, they don't get barrier. If they're dead, they also don't cast spells.
yeah.
True.
Yep.
So, how about you, Stickbender?
Oh my goodness, I just remembered something. If you want to goof around, this isn't highly recommended against speed freaks, but EMP from Nova and Mengsk will kill all the energy that allows them to cast spells, and for Mengsk, that EMP does in fact damage the unit for the amount of energy. So anything with less than 200 health will be one shot by Mace EMP.
If it's full energy, at least.
If it's full energy, and I think the enemies all spawn with full energy of power overwhelming on this map. Some maps they spawn with full energy, some maps they spawn with 50 energy. I'm not sure which one this one is.
There might be some guys who have the APMs do that. I'm not one of them.
You can technically put the EMP on autocast, I think.
Okay, that's good to know.
The ghosts are still really fragile.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. But, you know, you can.
So you have fragile ghosts and volatile vampires. Fun.
Hooray. I mean, hey, it's for the people who really want to play P2 Minsk, okay?
Okay. So
Anyways,
Tychus.
back to Tychus. Tychus eats everything for breakfast. His grenade go boop.
Boop.
His other outlaws also eat everything. You just move and things die and it's easy.
Okay.
Tychus will just, he's S tier.
All right. So without prestige, still S.
Probably a little. It'll be harder without P2.
Okay.
Quite a bit harder, but he's still probably S.
Okay.
And that's just on you for not picking a obviously overpowered prestige.
We're not having it.
Vorazun, where do we have
Okay,
him?
fair. Vorazun. So, micro good and you'll be fine. Micro bad and you'll be dead.
Yes.
Pretty much it.
I'll shoot up.
Like, yeah, your shooting up is probably going to be, well, so Corsairs are okay. It's all wave clear shooting up here, not base clear shooting up. So that's nice because, amusingly enough, usually the stuff that challenges Vorazun for shooting up isn't the wave of air units. No. It's the random battle cruiser in the middle of that base.
Yes.
It
is that one.
Yes. So
at least an Avenger. At least an Avenger, yeah.
Yes. Corsairs should do well for defending. You're going to be able to use cannons around, like walls of cannons around the bots because you will have tons of minerals. And if it's a ground comp, you're happy because you can just literally Shadow Fury everything. And then if you are bad at micro, then you will die a horrible death. Vorazun will say good to you because that's Vorazun.
Okay.
And then you will be sad.
Letter.
Oh, probably C tier, I guess, because like, well, maybe D tier. She's like Alarak to an extreme for the whole difficulty thing. Like,
the sad thing is the enemies can still use spells even through time stop.
Yes, but that's not too worrying usually.
We're trying to push, but okay. Tutu, how about you?
We arrived at the same place, but you different paths, I guess. I think she's not that good because if your whole army is invisible and if they hit you with fungals and stuff, then you're gonna lose them, and they're gonna have to come back from the Nexus. If they're
decloaked, they don't recall to the Nexus at all.
Oh, then that's even worse. And then if they're invisible, then the enemies will just run straight to the bot and kill it if you don't stop them, or if you're not quick enough to stop them. So yeah, I would suggest building a Nexus in the middle of the map, probably on the high, like after the third set of bots, like around 12:30 after the first wave hits, because they won't hit the high ground after that. And you just put a Nexus right in the middle, so that your Dark Templar can come back from a closer place.
So they can die.
Yeah, I put it in C.
C? Oh, C.
Yeah.
Six.
I put it in C.
Six better. You put them in D, right?
I said C, potentially D, just because of the difficulty. Because like basically, yeah, your plan here is you just have to get really good at Shadow Fury, because if you're using Shadow Fury, you're invulnerable. You're immune to all the spells, and Shadow Fury outranges like all the spells. And then if you do get hit by the spells, then you can probably just let your entire army get vaporized instantly and die.
With P2, where do we have him?
Huh? Oh.
With P2, where do we have him?
Fun fact about Vorazun is if you're fighting Terran, you can cloak wall the left side, and that can save that. Like if you cloak wall them, you don't have to fight anything at all.
Which left
They
side?
don't
Cool.
have air.
Which left side?
The
First
left
bonus?
side towards the first bonus.
Ah, right. Cool. So they never said
So you
anything
won't
there?
know.
Even at the very first minute, they never said anything there?
No. Well, you clear the area, and then by the second set, you can wall it off, and then whatever.
That's
Yeah, you
cool.
gotta watch out for them disabling the dark pylon, but you should probably that probably won't happen.
That's cool. So Zagara, where do we have him?
Zagara, see, she's if you're fighting a comp that doesn't die to one shot of banelings, then like barrier will trigger, and that's gonna waste a lot more banelings. If you're
Yes.
unlucky and you send your you roll your group of banelings towards it and it gets fungled or something, you get a lot of super useless splitter banes that just tickle the barrier instead of blasting it. I will use P3. I used bio launchers.
There it is! Check it off the
Wow, you use
list!
Bio launchers? How could we have seen this coming?
Check it off
I
the
know, you put
list!
them on high ground. You put them on high ground, you put evolution chambers to stall them, and then you whack them from afar.
Nice.
But yeah, I put her in E.
I don't know where. Yay! A friend! Zeratul, where do we have him?
I love how we've had these anyways, bad commander, anyways, really good commander. Cannons, but he's better at them. And hero unit who gets to have his invulnerability frames of he has phasing armor, so he can literally blink out of crowd control spells. Because that's just what Zeratul needed to be balanced, right? The ability to blink out of crowd control spells obviously was incredibly necessary.
Totally. It's necessary to see. You can even have triple blink. So you can just completely avoid the spells.
He's like A or S, one of the two.
Okay. How about you, Tutu?
He's my third. Well, he's the last guy, so S candidate, because this is a long map, so you're gonna get a lot of if you're
Fragments.
using P2, because you're going cannons, you're probably gonna use P2.
Yeah.
You're gonna get at least 6-7 fragments.
Seven is a few. You want to have at least 9 here.
Yeah, but if you're bad at it, you're probably gonna get at least 6 or 7. If you're good, you probably get 10. But still, at some point, you're gonna kill the enemies with one spin, and you're not even gonna worry about the spells or the barrier.
You're just gonna worry
And
about how to pass the
Yeah.
time between the fifth
Yeah.
bot and the end of the
By
game.
spamming more cannons.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so S.
All right, there we go.
Yes.
Are we gonna do anything about the completely empty D tier?
Put Dehaka
Nah.
there.
Zoyaka.
Yes.
Okay.
But seriously, the D tier signifies the difference between the E tiers and the C tiers. It's big.
Between usable commanders and those guys.
I'm helping.
So who's better, Zeratul or Tychus?
Tychus?
Huh.
I'd say Tychus.
I would say Tychus.
All right.
Because he's ready by 3 minutes.
All right. For A, I think we had Karax first. Karax or
It's
Phoenix?
between Karax and Phoenix. It's probably
Karax,
Karax because
Phoenix.
Phoenix has comp dependence.
Okay. So Phoenix next or Arcturus? I think Stetboy actually.
I think, actually, yeah.
I think Stetboy.
wait,
I'd say Phoenix then Stetmann, but you guys can go Stetmann Phoenix if you really insist.
Yay! Oh, no. Yay! Stetboy. Okay, then Phoenix. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Manx is the lowest of the A tiers.
all right.
He's good and all, but he is the worst of the A tiers.
Which is not to say he's bad. A is still really good.
Yes, Manx is the worst of the best.
Okay. Who's the best among the Bs? I think Kerrigan.
Nova?
You think Nova?
Nova? I did not think Nova.
Mm,
I think Kerrigan.
no,
You
Kerrigan
can-
has worms.
Yeah, you can hide everything in the worms. You can stall using the worms.
Yes. That really is the whole thing. Is like, no wait, Kerrigan has worms.
Yeah, Kerrigan is worms. And like Torasks.
No, I was just thinking airstrike because.
Oh, airstrike. That were. And the,
Yeah, well, I mean,
do you think?
technically speaking, you could worry about people missing airstrikes.
Yeah. Do we really want to recommend?
Worms are good.
I was gonna say, do we really want to recommend airstrikes against speed freaks?
Do we want to recommend like Nova is just kind of hard, I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's do Kerrigan. And then who's
I
next?
think honestly, Abathur.
Abathur.
Abathur could
Yeah.
even been the top of to be honest. But Kerrigan has worms, and worms are really
Plus, Kerrigan buffs Abathur by giving him Omega Worms.
true.
And then we have Nova, or
I mean, I'd put Artanis next, but that's because
Artie?
I apparently really like Artanis here. It wasn't that hard to me to do Artanis here.
okay, don't have problems with that. And then Dehaka, then Nova, or Nova then Dehaka. I think they're right around there. I think, or
Yeah, I think that's about right, to be honest.
what do you think, Tutu?
I think Nova is stronger, but need to work harder.
That's true. You can have an asterisk there. Nova's stronger but harder, so get gooder.
Yeah.
So C, who's the best among the C?
Do you have good luck? Stukov.
Get good
Do
luck.
you have good skill? Alarak.
Do you have really good skill? Vorazun.
Do you like lasers?
I like buildings.
Do you like
You like
buildings?
buildings, but you didn't like space lasers. Swann. For the man who likes making buildings, but is just opposed to Karax on an emotional level.
All right. Do we just go glowy eyes here? I don't know. Vorazun, Alarak, Swann, or Vorazun, Alarak, Stukov, Swann.
I'd say Vorazun can stick in the bottom.
All
way.
right, there it is.
Because like she was the one who was potentially D tier, just because like she's so dependent on you not messing it up.
Okay.
So basically, leave it in the order it is, because it's glowy eyes, except Vorazun is in the bottom.
Okay. All right, there it is. So E tier.
Uh,
E tier. Here we come to the E tier. Sorry guys, Artie's not with you today. Who's the best?
top of the E tiers.
Bunkers!
I think it's Zagara.
Bio launchers!
Bio launchers.
I should clip this. I should clip this part of Tutu saying bio launchers. Like he's kind of hungry for them. And have that as a playable sound clip on my stream. Exclamation point bio launchers. Then make Tutu say bio launchers. Okay, so
Yeah, Zagara's bad.
so who's the best among the E's?
Do you have good
Probably
luck?
Zagara, then I would say Zagara, and then I'm not sure who the second one next best is after Zagara.
All right, we can't really decide. They're all bad. Just stick them in there. Just
Han
Zagara at the top.
Horner
Put Zagara at the
gives
top.
you a refund.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Han Horner gives a pass at the bus for LI. Okay.
There it
Zagara,
is.
Han, Raynor.
Hunter's like, yay! I'm not the worst.
Hey, that refund, like honestly, the salvage scrap is actually quite good for your ally. It's actually a pretty big deal for a lot of games.
There it is. All right, so
No, still Zagara at the top though.
oh, all right. Raider's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
But Jimmy's at the bottom.
Poor Raynor. Alright, I think that'll do it, guys. Watch 226 Better's channels. I will look them below, and I will see you guys next time.